Joining me now is Kansas Congressman Estes. He's the chairman of the House Social Security Subcommittee. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. What are you expecting in this upcoming 2-week period here before you all leave for the recess in terms of this reconciliation package?
Yeah, well, it's so important to move forward with the budget reconciliation process. We talk about a one big beautiful bill, but the big part about that is we need to get things done fast so that people can make decisions around it. There's been a lot of movement. Obviously, the House has done its part of the first step, and the Senate's involved now in doing theirs. Last week, the leadership in the House and the Senate and the White House all set together and started agreements on how to move this forward. My understanding is the bill is going to come before the Senate so they can do their part of the first step on the budget resolution, and then we'll be able to move forward. Hopefully they'll pass something, if not exactly like we passed out of the House, very close to it, because there's obviously we have very tight margins in the House of Representatives, and we have a lot of concern about all the issues and components of how do we address spending and how do we address the tax issues that are out there as well.
So, I mean, yesterday Ron Johnson told me that the House version of this budget is not going to pass the Senate because of the spending and this inability to get back to pre-COVID spending, or at least a little more than pre-COVID spending, but not all the way up to $7.3 trillion, Congressman. So, you know, and then the Journal this morning has this piece out. Senate aims to advance Trump tax agenda while postponing the spending cut fight. So which is it?
Well, the version that the Senate originally passed didn't include anything to address the spending cuts. And what we did in the House was to at least put some markers down to actually start that process. Senator Johnson highlighted an important part is that since 2017, we've had a 48% increase in tax revenue coming into the federal treasury, but we've had a 70% increase in spending through COVID and beyond. So we do need to rein that spending in. I mean, we can't continue down this route of borrowing $1 out of $5 that's being spent by the federal government. We have to address that. We took a good first swing at it in our House version. We ultimately need to do more, but this gets the process going.
Well, Democrats claim that Republicans are going to cut Social Security to pay for President Trump's agenda. I wanted to get your take on the overspending or the waste that is present in Social Security, because I know that you're not looking to cut the muscle here, but the Democrats need to know what you're going to do, because they're spreading this idea that you're going to be cutting into the muscle. Washington Senator Patty Murray wrote this: the Republican policy on Social Security is to create so much red tape for you that it's harder to get the benefits you've paid into your entire career. Meanwhile, they'll keep lying about fraud and stealing from you to pass trillions in tax cuts for billionaires. Congressman, she's talking about you and your colleagues. Are you lying about this?
Well, that's just not true. I mean, when you look at what's going on with what we're trying to accomplish, the DOGE effort, as well as what we've started now on Social Security Subcommittee, is looking at how do we eliminate this waste and improper payments. You know, every dollar we save on waste and improper payments is a dollar that's available to pay legitimate beneficiaries. So we want to make sure that happens and that legitimate beneficiaries get their money. Anybody that says Republicans are trying to cut Social Security, they're just not telling the truth.
Congressman, you recently reintroduced legislation to protect American taxpayers from foreign countries, you say. Tell us about the Unfair Tax Prevention Act.
Yes. Well, one of the things that the Biden administration did, led by Secretary Yellen's department, is they looked at, in conjunction with the Organization of Economic Cooperation, a lot of developed countries around the world, is how to raise taxes on American businesses so that they can collect more taxes in their country. And basically what they were doing was looking at saying that each big business, they called it big business, but really it was targeted towards American businesses. They were going to raise taxes on them and not take into account the U.S. tax code. And we have the responsibility for U.S. tax code in the United States. That's been decades-long practice that countries taxed what was production within their own borders. and we'd be able to tax that operations and activity. And we should get back to that. The process that they have out there now, the UTPR tax that was part of their Pillar 2 version, is completely unworkable. The administrative burdens are so huge on U.S. businesses, and it'll raise taxes on them and actually reduce the taxes going into the U.S. Treasury. So we want to make sure that if any country tries to unfairly tax U.S. businesses, that we'd also tax them.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching all of that. A lot of different plans moving around here in terms of the tax situation. We'll be watching your work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congressman Ron Estes joining us.